I forgot to change the orientation, so we have to do it TikTok style. Stupid YouTube. All they have to do is give the option right now to make it go sideways, but instead they don't. Also, my microphones are dead. So, what a morning. Screwed up. Hey, here we are on the old channel. How about that, huh? That's pretty wild. Good morning, Royce and Jennifer. Benjamin Harris. Hey, hey. Hey, the gang's all here. A different microphone today. And hopefully this will work. And still got my Starlink. Okay, Stephen Sheets. Hey, good morning. All right, how's this, everybody? Can you hear me? I'm assuming you can see me because I've got good Wi-Fi now, albeit TikTok style. All right. Nobody's saying anything. Can you hear me? Somebody? Get these technical things ironed out. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, here we are. Back on the old channel because not using it anyway. The idea was to change it to leave this channel exclusively camping because I was gearing up to do a bunch of camping trips and then I didn't do them. And so there was no point in going to the other channel when I'm really not even using any of them because I'm obsessed with other things right now. But like I've been saying, I'm I forget. I'm reading the comments while I'm talking and it throws me off. Hey, good morning, Chris James. Glad you're here. Stephen Sheets, look like Wyatt Earp. Well, that's quite a compliment. I can assure you I'm nothing like Wyatt Earp, however. He was quite the man. Well, I got my horses over here before I get situated next to the creek. We can look around a little bit. The ground is, the water is really green. It's like, that's how green it is in real life. That's accurate. I don't know why. I guess because the reservoir is low. For some reason, my horses are hanging out with me. I don't know why. I let them out. I've been pinning them up at night because I was working with them every morning, so that way I got them right handy. Also, it kind of affects their mentality. Horses, when you pin them up, they feel like they're a little bit more ready to work rather than, wild and free. And so I've been pinning them up at night. But now that I'm working with them every morning, I still pin them up, but I let them out in the morning, and they hang out with me anyway. So it's really cool. I love it. My geldings never did. My geldings hated me. He didn't hate me. He hated being around me. He liked getting and stuff. But so it's really cool to have these mares that actually enjoy my company. They even get jealous of one another. I don't enjoy that. Like I'll be petting Comanche Moon, that one, and then Nam Num Ken pushes her away. And but can't we all just get along? They get jealous. And Justin says that means it's gonna rain. Hey, Steven, sure, we could talk about that. Shoot me an email or a private message or a DM, wherever. I think you and I are Instagram friends, aren't we? I mean, it's going to rain. Or the green. I don't know. I thought you were joking, Justin, about the horses hanging out with me. Maybe you mean the green in the creek. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. That means I got to get my cabin ready because it doesn't have a roof yet. The roof is the hard part for me, so I've been apprehensive in getting it going. But I'm remodeling my cabin, and I'm really excited about that. This winter is just going to be so cool. Because I bought a solar setup. I bought 5 batteries. So I should be able to have lights at the very least. I mean, I got enough batteries that I want to be able to watch movies on a big TV. Big TV. Can't go wide on this. And also so I can edit my videos and look on the TV to see how they look rather than just on my laptop. And so I got enough batteries for that and for lighting because, you know, up here the days get so short. It's like light at 8 o'clock and then dark at 4 o'clock. And then if it's cloudy, it's never really light out. And so this year I'm going to use light bulbs. I've got 12 volt lights coming in the mail one of these days, today or tomorrow. And so should be a fun winter. And like I said, I'm remodeling my cabin, so it's beautiful inside. I've got nice pine siding, and I'm using some rock wool around the wood stove to make it more safe. And then I plan to put some sheet metal also as a block. That seems to work really well. But I also decided yesterday I'm going to extend it 4 feet. So my cabin, it was the right size if I wanted to be minimal. Like if I went with one of them diesel heaters that are really amazing these days. They've replaced propane heaters. You can get them for like $100, and they're pretty efficient. If I had one of those and I turned it down to low, then it might be nice to have that minimal cabin size. But I love using a wood stove because I cook on it and everything, and it's just fun to have firewood. And so, as I've been saying all the time, it's hard to heat the cabin in the size it's at because it gets hot too fast. So I thought, what the heck, I'll just extend it while I'm remodeling it, while I'm at it. And so I'm going to add on 4 feet. I was debating between 4 feet and 8 feet, but 8 feet it'd be like another $1,000 that I'd have to dump into it. 4 feet, I might be able to pull it off with a lot of the materials I already have, and it'll just take a few more materials to pull that off. So maybe a few $100. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to have more room because the crowded part was the wood stove. If I use diesel heat again, then I could get rid of the wood stove and there'd be plenty of room. But by adding on 4 feet, I'll have a nice area for wood stove and firewood without being really crowded. And then I got more room for my desk. And so I'm excited about that. To have the additional feet should be just as warm, even warmer this year because I'm insulating better. So I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to get moved into it and get my life even more organized. So, oh, okay, Justin meant that animals tend to clump up. Yeah, it's not that kind of clumping up. They do this all the time. They just hang out right there. Like when I'm done riding, I let my mare choose where we go. Like she can take me back to where we unsaddle. She could take me back to where we eat grain, where I give her grain. And they always walk over here, right there where I showed you guys. And they just like hanging out there. It's weird. I don't think it means rain, but it is supposed to rain tomorrow. So maybe I just didn't notice the pattern. Could be. Oh, hey, Peter. Yeah, I haven't had you on here for a while. Well, we've been on the other channel, and I managed to lose a lot of people. We're already at more viewers now than we've been on the other channel. So I messed up this channel by going, I don't know. I don't even care. I'm not doing anything to promote this channel. It's not really my goal. I just want to do stuff that I enjoy. And I'll do some more camping eventually. Yeah, thanks, Justin. That tongue and groove, I was really happy. I was afraid I was going to be like going up at different angles and I'd have a hard time with it. But man, it was just slick and easy to put together. And then yesterday I put the ceiling on and I removed the front. And so now I got to build that 4-foot addition and then the roof. And I decided not to buy a nail gun. It's like $400 to buy one. And they don't have them as a rental at Home Depot. So I'm going to try to use a framing hammer and screws. If you just do 2 screws. The thing about nails, the nice thing about framing nails is the shear strength. That's the point of a nail because they pull out unless you use the riveted ones. So if I use 2 screws for 1 nail, that should equal about the same shear strength. I think it'll be fine. But nails for the right application is ideal. Also, those nail guns are so slick. I mean, everybody that's used one knows. You just hold it with one hand and bam, you got a nail in. But I'll make do. I'm apprehensive to get started on it because I'm not really confident on framing this roof, but I've got an idea for how to get the right angles figured out, and I got all the lumber, so I just got to tackle it. Just got to start. So anyway, I'm excited to finally have a roof on that thing. I tried this flat roof thing with plastic, this has been a big experiment, you know, to see what I can get away with, like the bare minimum. And it did end up leaking a lot, but we're so dry that, like I've said, I opened up all the walls and the floor and all the insulation. None of it had mold, even though it's definitely been wet. So that's the benefit of living out in the desert, is even if it does get wet, it doesn't turn into mold if you if it's in the heat. So in other words, a wide margin for error, in other words, when in building. I lived in Seattle and worked construction over there, and everything was about mold mitigation. Like, we had literal rivers flowing in crawl spaces like in this one place. We didn't even try to divert the water. I had to go in this. It was about a 5-foot crawl space. I'm 6 feet tall, so it wasn't horrible, but I had to go down there. I was a laborer, and for a builder. I was just like 1 employee. It was a good job. But anyway, I was down there digging out a trench through the crawl space so that the water could enter on the north side and exit on the south side. And then we dumped a bunch of pea gravel in there to allow it to flow. But anyway, that's Seattle. You got to always be building swales for all the water and stuff. And so it was a good lesson. It was good to learn building methods over there, because then you come over here and it's pretty much way easier. But not that I enjoyed any of that. I hated my job. I hated my life. But that's a whole nother story. There was some benefit of it. Man, I should have left Seattle after about a year or 2 of being there, if I could do things over again. I say a year or 2 because I was into swing dancing, and it was a really good time back then. So let's see. Nothing to go wander around about. So I'm looking forward to moving off this property. That's why I'm not going hunting. So it's hunting season. I could be up there hunting bear and grouse right now, and cougar, and fishing. But instead I'm remodeling my home and getting ready to move from this property to the next. And then getting ready now. And then I got my Arizona trip coming up. And then when I come back, my goal is that when I come back, I can just move to the other property. And then out there, I can go camping and I can go horseback riding. And because here, the horseback riding is fun. It's good training, but it's kind of boring. Going in the same place every day. So I'm looking forward to going out there where we can go up hills. I can give her a workout. We can go check out different areas and ride for a few hours. It gets boring here after 45 minutes. And, but it was good practice. So I was riding her every day, and I was working with the other mare every day to be a pack horse. But then my horse had leg problems. She's got all these bites these bumps, about marble-sized bumps all over her legs. So I quit riding her because it got pretty bad finally. And so I realized she was in pain. So I'm hoping it's supposed to cool off, the bugs will minimize, and then hopefully I can get back to riding her. But I also got to put shoes on her for out at the other property. There's rocks really bad. Here it's pretty soft. And and I guess I might as well tell you guys this. So I lost my rooster. He's gone. Things have been pretty sad around here for a few days after that. I believe what got him was a raccoon. I think right now a raccoon took him and then a coyote got him, based on the tracks that I found. I never found any blood, or I never found the place where an animal sat down and ate him, and so I've been optimistic. I was optimistic for a while that that he might have struggled and got away, because I found about 5 piles of feathers, but like I said, never any blood. And when he got attacked in Arizona by the dogs, there was a ton of feathers, but he was fine. I mean, he recovered after a couple days. So I was hopeful that he might have fought his way away and was out there. But now I guess it's been so long that he's probably gone for good. I mean, for sure. That sucks. He was such a cool rooster, and I loved hanging out with him in the morning, right here having breakfast. He would always share my breakfast. He'd come and stand really close until I fed him. Sometimes I had leftovers so I could feed him immediately. Sometimes he had to wait until my breakfast was cooked, and he didn't understand why. So when he had to wait, he'd just get right in my face. Yeah, he was a lot of fun. So I'm pretty bummed about that. I think it happened when I was over watching a movie on the other end of the property, so it sucks thinking about him struggling, because if he had 5 piles of feathers, so, and like I said, no blood, so I think there was a lot of struggling. Had I heard him, I might have been able to go and scare off whatever animal it was, and might have saved him. He was, for some reason, midday, he would go kind of far away. I didn't like it, but I thought he was okay, during the daytime. But that's what happened. He was over there kind of far in this willow grove that he liked hanging out in, and that's where they got him. It sucks. Like I say, I was torn about, because I would go hang out at the cabin on the other end of the property to get out of the flies, and he didn't like being picked up. I didn't know if he liked going with us, so I didn't always make him. I tried picking him up and taking him, but sometimes I'd leave him. Like when I went to town, he was too hot in the car, so I wouldn't take him to town. So now kind of regret that, thinking probably should have just made him go with me all the time. So yeah, it sucks. Let's see, we got a new viewer, Sarab Yadav. That's my guess. Hi, welcome. And Benjamin, yeah, thanks, Benjamin. It sucks. I had a dream last night that he was back. In my dream, he was all fully feathered and everything, and I was all happy to see him. And then I woke up, of course. Peter, my other channel is over on the creek side. Benjamin Harris says, maybe kind of a vague question. What does your winter routine look like on a snowy winter's day? Maybe it varies, but just curious. It's actually very pleasant. I wake up in the dark. The funny thing is, in the wintertime, I wake up around 4:30. One year, I was even waking up at 3:30. I wake up really early in the winter. Of course, I go to bed around 8, so then I wake up, start a fire. I've been not having a fire overnight. That way I save firewood and make myself adapt to sleeping in the cold. Also, the cabin kind of stays warm anyway, too. So get up and have my coffee in the morning for about 5 hours until it's light outside, and go out and walk a little bit, and then come back inside and make some tea, cut some firewood as I need it. I don't cut my firewood before winter because it gives me, otherwise I just sit by the fire all day long in the wintertime. There's not much to do, so having to go out and cut firewood gets me outside, and it's kind of fun. So I'll go out there and cut firewood, chop it a few days worth at a time, and then I only bring in about a day's worth because leaving it inside dries it out just fine. And just lazy days, but that's why this year, like I said, I'm going to use lighting, so that way I can study, and I'm working on filmmaking, studying filmmaking, and also been studying how to trade stocks, which that's a wild discovery. So, because I get depressed in the winter. I like the winter time, but after a while, those short days, like I said, light at 8 o'clock, dark at 4 o'clock, and then if it's cloudy, it's dark all day long. It gets depressing for me. I'm the kind of guy that when the sun's out, I'm awake and I got energy. And so the wintertime, it does get old, but I'd like to not go to, have to go back to Arizona this winter. I would just as soon be able to stay here all winter. So that's why I focused on getting the lighting. Hopefully that by lighting the inside, I'll be more alive and be able to tolerate the winter. And if not, 2 or 3 weeks down south isn't that bad. Maybe I'll go to San Diego, visit Justin and family. I got family in the LA area too. So yeah, that's a winter. That's like the actual winter when it's snowing and cold. But we have pretty mild winters. Like, it's not uncommon for December to be in the 40s in the daytime. And so who knows, maybe oh, something stinks in the fireplace, and it's a plastic hamburger thing. Maybe this year, when I get out to the other property, there's projects that I want to work on. I'm trying to keep myself active instead of being sluggish, keep my body in shape, and I'll get back to digging that hole so I can have a cellar. Something I'd like to try if we get cold enough winters is the old-fashioned way of storing up ice. So get a couple buckets, fill them with water, and turn them into hard ice, and then store them underground in a bunch of sawdust or something so that I can have ice through the summer. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And just stuff like that I'm thinking about doing. I really want a cellar. That way I can manage to keep food easier through the summer, because I want to stay out at my other property all summer next year. That's the goal. Hopefully I'll have this one sold, and then I won't even have an option. So that's what's going on. Roadrunner 49, hey, hello. Thank you, appreciate that. Glad to hear it. Benjamin Harris, a coffee. Yeah. Oh, and then I could even do trapping. One year, I mean, I hate killing animals, but the idea of trapping is fantastic for prepping. Like, in my opinion, trapping is like the survival method. So I took the test to be able to get my trapper's license here in Washington. I took it a few years ago, but we always have mild winters, and it's apparently colder winters make for better trapping. But if I was trapping and if I was willing to eat what I trap, I could actually furnish a lot of my food that way. So we'll see. Maybe I'll try that. Um, that's a good wintertime activity. So we'll see. I've been shopping on Marketplace for those razors because I knew a guy who had one and he got tracks for it. And so I love the idea of being out at my cabin, and if we have 3 or 4 feet of snow, all I gotta do is put tracks on and I'm invincible to winter. I really love the idea of that, but they're pretty pricey, so we'll see if I ever do that. Am I gonna do cowboy camping again? Yeah, I probably will. The funny thing is, if you look back at my patterns, for some reason it's like in the wintertime is when I go camping. I do more camping in the winter than I do in the nice weather. And so when I get to my other property, I'd like to think that in November I'll do some camping, because modern rifle season is open for deer and elk through October, basically the whole month. And so I don't like going out in that, especially with my horses, because you never know if somebody's gonna deer fever and they're gonna shoot my horse or shoot me by accident. I don't like being out there among modern rifles when there's a person every 100 yards. It's nuts. Anyway, so hopefully by November. December, the days are so short that I don't want to go camping because I end up just sitting in the dark most of the time. But then when the days start getting longer, February, I'll probably do some more camping. We'll see. Maybe I will go out when it's dark. I'd still like to tackle cold weather camping a little bit better. So maybe I'll use that great big tarp that I bought and that interior tent method that I came up with. And I've got a lightweight wood stove, so I could put that on my pack horse. So who knows what I'll try. Just looking forward to getting out there where I got more options. It'll be difficult losing this spot. This is where I hang out almost all the time during the summer, because it's really shady in here. I can jump in the creek and cool off, and it's beautiful. Across the creek is nice and green. Everything else out there 20 feet away is dry and yellow, which I like the desert. That's not bad, but it's nice to be around the green, lush environment. So I'll miss this spot here, but so if I sell this property like I'm trying, that means I got to make something out there. I got to make a shady spot. I got to plant these 3 trees and hopefully make a shady area. I'd like to plant them like in a grove so that they can grow and create a shady spot to sit under. And then I got an artesian well out there, and I'm working on a little pond where if I used a pump, I could put a little fountain to keep it aerated. I don't know, just things like that I'm dreaming up to see if I can make the summer tolerable out there. Because I've spent summers out there at that property, and I didn't have any of that stuff. And one summer it was kind of funny because I got my horse trailer there, and me and the animals just follow the shade all day from the horse trailer. I actually did that here too. And then I finally figured out that this little area down here, I finally figured out to come down here like a moron. I was hanging out over there in the sun, hiding from the sun in the shade of my horse trailer. That's when I had my truck seat next to the trailer. I'd sit in that. So anyway, I got to be more active now. So anyway, that's the goal. But who knows? Maybe I'll sell that property and I'll move out of state. Washington's getting worse and worse. I don't see a lot of hope of Washington getting any better. And so who knows? We'll see. But I know for now the plan is to move out there and figure that out and get back to some camping now that things are cooling off. I really dislike the heat. I didn't used to be that way, but I do now. Never thought I would like winter more than summer. But as far as reenacting goes, that's exciting. I got some gear together. Justin's helped me with some of that, and I bought some stuff. And pretty soon I'll have my outfit together, and we're going to Tombstone for an event. Camp out with the guys, go into Tombstone, hang out, reenact, do some reenacting, cowboy camping in town rather than out in the wilderness alone. So that'll be new and exciting, and be a good time. Yeah, Chris James, Eldorado. So they've been doing it for years, and I planned on going years ago, but like I always say, with all these animals, it was too hard to travel. And then last year, I forget why I didn't go, because I was down at that time. I don't know if I had the 2 dogs or 3 dogs last year, but anyway, this year, finally going. And don't, at this point, who knows what could come up to stop me. My car's running. My van is not running. So I'm going to take my car, but the car gets almost half the cost of gas if I take the car anyway. So that's the plan. I'll just camp out on the ground. I did that the first time on my first trip with the car before I had the van. So do a little cowboy camping on the way down there anyway. And anyway, really looking forward to it. And get to meet some of these guys face to face. Feel like these guys are good friends of mine, and I've never even met them in face to face. So it'll be good to shake their hands and hang out with them and stroll through town together. So really looking forward to that. Yep. So money has been a big issue lately. I've been talking a little bit about that. Oh, I didn't know last year was your first year. Dang. Yeah. Yeah, I'm bummed that I didn't. When I was traveling from Texas, I was kind of stressed out. So it'll be good to finally meet up. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to September being over, because the forecast keeps saying highs in the 70s, and I think, yes, finally done with the hot weather. And then, because the weather forecasts are always off, and then the week comes and it's back in the 80s. And so this week again, highs of 70s. We've got one day in the 80s on the forecast. But we'll see. Anyway, so I'm excited for September to be over, because maybe then we can get some cool weather, get some rain. Oh, this is the 5th one. Yeah, I thought you'd been going for a while. Man. Yeah, it was irritating having all them animals. I loved having them, but I never intended to not be able to go places. Like, my goal was to be able to go to things like that and go camping more. Like I said, I loved having the animals. I learned a lot. I think I grew in character that I needed to grow from them animals. But it's frustrating looking back, all the things that I intended to do and then couldn't do. You're watching me from Instagram right now? Or you mean you follow me on Instagram? The TRWR modeler. You enjoy Old West stuff. If anybody's interested in getting into Old West reenacting, we do a higher level of it than most people. And if you're interested in that, just hit one of us up. We're happy to guide you. Oh, thanks, TWR Moldor. I need to post more on Instagram. I've actually been trying not to do social media so much, trying to be more productive. Hey, hi from Normandy. Wow, I'm horrible with French, but after I read The Count of Monte Cristo, I really wanted to learn French. Still want to visit France someday, travel the back roads, the little villages. Yeah, so excited about that. I got a new hat recently. I got an Old West coat. A vest is in the mail. I ordered a shirt. That's in the mail. I got some really nice boots. The only thing that I'm bummed about my outfit is my trousers. I'm going to be wearing a black pair of trousers, which wouldn't matter so much, but I wanted my black boots to stand out. I got some really tall, I call them hooker boots, really tall hooker boots with the nice high heels, and I got spurs for them, and I wanted those to stand out more, but with black trousers, you know, they kind of blends in more, but whatever. I just, it's hard to get this stuff. Like, I could order a pair of trousers, but it's like 6 weeks out. And oh, Chris, my waist size is like 32. Yeah, I don't know if you got a pair. That'd be sweet. But then the other problem is my vest and coat are green. But I could also wear my black coat. So I'm going to take both the black outfit and the green outfit. Or just, I don't know. Anyway, that's the plan. So, anyway, I'm going to look a lot better than I would have looked a few months ago. So, I am stoked. And we should do some videos down there. What will be there, I hope I'll do a live video. It's also up to Justin how much recording I can do, because I'm going to put all the blame on you, Justin. Because he keeps it's a historical camp. So, like, I'm going to bring a tin coffee pot, all the historical stuff for camping, wool blankets. So I'm probably going to freeze, but at least I'll be historical. And so don't know if I'll be able to do the live video there or anything. Chris James, you got a pair of gray 32s. Hey, that'd be sweet. Yeah, bring them along. That'd be better than black. And my personal thing about trousers is they look good enough when they're trousers. I mean, it's not like a coat where it's all visible. By the time you put the belt on and the boots on, it's like all it is wool showing. That's my take on them. But yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be way better. I didn't know they sell gray. Maybe I'll just pick up a pair. Because I'm going to be driving through Idaho where the CNC store is, Chris. In case you want anything, message me. All right, so that's exciting. Eating and drinking out of tin cups. My pan is now my plate. I don't normally use a plate, but down in Tombstone I'm going to have a plate with me. And I'm going to take my war bag. TWR modeler. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Riding wearing them as well. Really cool. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Sounds good. I do have a brown pair, but I don't like the look of black and brown. Actually, I need new brown trousers anyway. I just plain need trousers. They're all tore apart. The only pair I got is a black pair. That's decent. But I guess brown and green looks good. It would just be the black belts, black with boots. And then anybody watching this thinking, yeah, the Cowboys weren't this prissy. Oh, yes, they were. Cowboys were very prissy about their clothing. I don't know how much they knew. And actually, when I read about the historical stuff, I'm always surprised at the color combinations they make. Guys don't talk about it as much, but like women tend to write about it more. Like, oh, I made this dress for the Christmas gathering. It was blah, 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 blah. And they talk about all the colors. And the women used a lot of brown. I'm really surprised about that because I've always thought of brown as kind of like a guy's color where you don't care about looking nice. Like I wear brown quite a bit. It's kind of like gray or black where it's just kind of like it doesn't stand out. It's one of those base colors that can just kind of blend in and you don't stand out. So I was surprised to read about girls making dresses out of brown material. And then the color combinations were surprising. yeah, so I don't know. I was just surprised about that. By the 80s, punchers had style and they took pride in their clothing. I hold firm on that. Absolutely. I believe by the late 70s they did too, but just not quite as widespread. But to this point, there's no proof for when it really started, but definitely by the 80s for sure, undoubtedly. And we're portraying 1881 because aren't we portraying the year of the OK Corral shootout, I believe. So, yeah. So we're all. I feel like a real cowboy because I spent $250 on a shirt and $225 on boots, which is actually cheap for these boots, but still it's a lot of money. And that's what Teddy Blue Abbott wrote about, was that us cowboys were spending way too much money on fancy shirts and boots. So not only is wearing it reenacting the Old West, but buying it is kind of a reenactment of the Old West, spending all this money on clothes. But they also didn't have a whole lot to spend money on. It's weird how we are today, where a huge part of our income goes toward living, just to a place to live. Like that first started to open my eyes when I was in Africa, and out there in the village where I was, you go to the king, chief essentially, and you say, hey, I'd like to use that plot to build a home. And they vote on it with the council, and then they tell you, yeah, go ahead. As long as it's reasonable, you're not denied. But essentially the king owns all the land, but of course the people have a right to use it, but him and his council decide how they divvy it up. And I'd watch that and I'd realize, man, they have no living expense as far as home. They get their water out of a well for free. I don't remember if they paid electricity or if that was given to them by the government. And then they don't have to pay for housing. They maybe had to pay like $100 a year, like kind of like a property tax. I don't remember, but they don't have to buy it. They would have to buy materials if they wanted to build something, but mostly what they would do is dig into the ground. It's clay ground, and then they'd build their house out of the clay. So they'd build it out of materials right there. And like I said, it occurred to me, I'm like, wow, these guys nobody has to pay rent, nobody has to pay a mortgage. And it really dawned on me back then how much of our income goes toward just having a place to live. And so it's the same with the cowboys. They didn't have. That's why I always hate it when people say, oh, they wouldn't have bought like the Colt 1873 because that was a $25 gun. They wouldn't have been spending. Like, have you read any accounts of these guys? They'd work for like 3 months, and then they'd get into town and get 3 months of pay, and they'd spend it by the end of the weekend. Like, they'd have 2 days in town, maybe 1 day in town, have to go back the next morning, and they'd be broke by the time they left. These weren't a people of saving money. They weren't a thrifty people. They'd go in and buy up the fancy boots, fancy shirts, throw the old ones away, I guess. I think they kept some backups. I've read about wearing 2 shirts. And so what's to keep them from spending $25 on a revolver instead of $15? I mean, that's not the way these guys were. And that's one of the problems with history. We look at things the way that we look at it today, and then we apply that mindset to people back then. That's why you got to read and see what was their mindset at the time. Their mindset was blowing 3 months' pay in a day and then going out and working more. And they didn't regret it. It's not like they were like, oh man, no, I'm broke. I need to be more careful. I think after a while they did, because I think it was pretty common that after a few years of living as a cowboy, people would move on to something else. There were some who stayed at it a long time, but a lot of times they would end up starting their own ranch and probably then started saving money. But for a while, I kind of think of military guys as similar. You get into the military and you get your weekends off. I mean, guys are young guys are just young and dumb and go out and blow your money. Yes, October 1881, Justin says, yeah. Justin says, once synthetic dyes became available, people embraced color. The low information Old West enthusiasts who make their outfits 50 shades of brown are erroneously influenced by photos. Yeah. Victor Karicki, hi, welcome. Chris James says, lots of first-hand accounts from different punchers about them favoring the 73. Yeah, right. The Colts, they called it possessive, like Samuel Colt's revolver. They loved their Colt's revolvers. And second-hand clothing stores were a thing in the Old West, too. Yeah, but did cowboys go to them? That's what I wonder. I just wish we had more information on all this stuff. I mean, I don't doubt that townspeople went to them, but or were the second-hand clothing in the same store as the first-hand clothing? Preach, yeah, this is exciting stuff for us. So if anybody has interest in getting into this Old West stuff, hit us up. We're happy to guide if you're willing to take it serious, because there's a lot of people out there who are very incorrect and unwilling to admit it. I was there. Hey, I'm wearing my vest. This vest is totally wrong. I bought this in Arizona at an Old West mercantile out on the way to Goldfield, the ghost town of Goldfield. I bought this and I was so excited to finally have a cool vest, and I had trousers that were also made out of canvas, and I thought I was all correct. It's what the stores offered. It's what people wore, other reenactors. And then I found this site where I met Justin and where I've met Chris from on Facebook. And I posted a picture that I had taken of me in my outfit. And I was just told, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I was like, what are you talking about? I got this at an Old West reenactors store. Well, fortunately, I like history enough that I was glad to find out I was wrong. It was a hard lesson to learn, but I'd rather learn it than go off telling myself that what's wrong is right. Unfortunately, there's too many people not like me. So if you want to be like us and admit, oh, I had it all wrong, I learned from Hollywood or from reenactments that I've visited at Old West events. If you're willing to admit that you're wrong and want to learn what's right, hit us up. But if you don't want to, hey, still have fun. I don't want to take the Old West from anybody. I just want people to acknowledge that this stuff is not right. Yeah, hit up Justin. He's got tons of time. So Chris James said. Let's see. My favorite revolvers are the 1851 Navy, the Colt 61 Navy, Colt 72 open top. Yeah, I'd love to get a 72 open top, because I like to lean more toward 70s, because that's a Billy the Kid era. And I think that the conversions were way more common than the 73 and the Remington 1875. That one I don't recall. Dead Wolf Resistance says, I thought my 90s clothes was Old West. Yeah, that's what I thought. Now what you can also do that's totally free and very historical is grow one of these. I think everybody needs a mustache. And it's a free way to have something that's very historical. Yeah, unfortunately, movies think the 90s clothes are Old West. Hollywood would use this hat. I would not use this hat. I'd use it in A River Runs Through It. Or what was the other one that's really awesome? With Brad Pitt. I forgot. But anyway, I would use this hat for like 30s, and it's really tempting for me to get into the 30s, but that's a whole nother issue. Um, but this would not fly for Old West. Justin saved your life. Yeah, he's taking in strays like old Tunstall. Um, Royce, you'd love to get started in it, but you're too broke. Yeah, dude. That's why I've quit doing Old West reenacting, because it's too frustrating, for one, to get accurate clothing, and it's too expensive. But now that I'm making this movie, I need to outfit 4 characters, and so that kind of gave me an excuse to get back into it. So all the clothing that I'm buying for me is also costuming for the short film that I'm planning to shoot in the spring. But yeah, it really is expensive to do it right. Right. It's impossible to do it right, but I won't go down that rabbit trail right now. All of my present day clothes look like 1880s to the normal people out there. Nice. Once made an open top pistol from a Colzer Colt 73. Oh, interesting. Huh. Where do you get all your stuff? I'm looking into Historical Emporium, but can't find anything else. Yeah, Historical Emporium is horrible. There's a couple things that are worth buying there, but South Union Mills is the best for just clicking and buying. SouthUnionMills.com. Their stuff isn't perfect, but they got it's made out of wool, and it's cut pretty good and pretty good patterns. But if you want to save money, you can go to CNC Cutlery, Sutlery, not Cutlery, it's ccsutlery.com. I buy trousers from them. To me, it's worth it to just spend $60 on something that you can barely see once you got your outfit on, than to spend 150 or 200 from another site where they're made a little bit better. But if you got money, you can get the whole outfit there on South Union Mills. Not the hat. Hats, you could hit me up. Hats can be super expensive if you buy them in America. Okay, I forgot about mustache. That is what does it. Yeah, yeah, you got a good mustache. Living history is constantly learning, that's for sure. You just have to keep reconfirming what you know. I'm happy to learn, but I will always go check what people tell me. Yeah. Yeah, it all comes down to interpretation in the end. Yeah. Yeah, if you just do the modern stuff like this, if I change my shirt, use this bandana, this hat, it's a modern day Hollywood outfit. Still looks cool. And like I say, my goal is never to take the Old West out of anybody's hands, because we all grow up with a love for Hollywood, or for the Old West, mostly from Hollywood. It's what I call the mythology of the Old West, which isn't a bad thing. I love it. It's a part of who we are, and I've learned it's a part of almost every country has a love of the Old West mythology. And I love to see people out enjoying that. And so I never want to be like you guys shouldn't be here. I never want to put that attitude out there. But just what gets me, what I dislike, is when people tell me, oh yeah, they had cotton. This is the right vest. I mean, they had cotton. People wore it. But not this. This is the wrong style. It's not the right. This would work for like after the 1900s, maybe. I don't know much about it. But just when people insist that things that aren't historical are, that's when it gets to me. But I don't want to try to take people's fun away. We got short lives here. Old West is Old West belongs to everybody. Oh yeah, I never thought about that. You guys, you're down in his area, and you got the last name. You know anybody that's got a membership to 23andMe or whatever it is that people use? Reading anything interesting? No, I have not, because I've been working on my cabin. I ordered a good book recently called something like In Their Own Words. It's interviews of people who knew Billy the Kid and were around at that time. And so I'm looking forward to reading that one, but I haven't been doing much reading. Been trying to be active and productive. But looking forward to getting into that one. So instead I listen to things on YouTube. Been studying stock trading. Yeah, good. Chris James, that's awesome. You set me up and I spiked it. You buy all your gear online, TWR Modeler. Janice Denny says, are you into the Old West history, Jesse James, etc.? Yes, absolutely love Old West history. Personally, I don't consider Jesse James as Old West. He was technically in the South. But same era, and definitely an intriguing character and story. So, I mean, I love anything historical, even going back 20 years. I like anything history oriented. But when it comes to the cowboy era, as I don't mind calling it, I love the cowboy part. That's my favorite part about it. But there's a lot of reenactors who try to downplay the cowboy stuff. But anyway, for me, I like it further out west. But I haven't got a lot into Jesse James. But great character. My favorite clothes: Filson, Wrangler, Schaefer Outfitters, Justin Boots. Yeah, I like Justin Boots too. Don't know about Double H Boots. TWR model, take inspiration from the Golden Age Hollywood, as well as spaghetti westerns. I love the spaghetti westerns. Eventually, now that I've cut my hair, I want to do my Clint Eastwood without my mustache. When I grow out just a few days of growth, about like I got now, I can do a really good Eastwood impression. With my mustache, it's harder to tell, but I've practiced his sneer and I've practiced his walk. So I need to get the lambskin vest. I've got a hat that pretty much looks like his, and I want to do a Clint Eastwood impression while I'm still young enough. But I got to shave my mustache for it, so I'm not looking forward to that. But it doesn't take long to grow the mustache back out. How do I feel about boots? What boots would be historically accurate? Okay, I'm really practical about reenacting. If you want to do it right, as right as you can buy a brand new pair of boots for like $350 to $600, and they'll be built pretty good. They'll look right. If you want to save money, I think South Union Mills actually has some at a decent price. They're like $250 to $325, somewhere in there, which is a lot of money for boots. But the reality is, you don't reenact very often. I mean, I don't know you're reenacting, but generally people don't reenact very often. Like, my boots sit more than they get worn, and so the pair that I bought, they're a cheap pair. And I bought them in 2018, and they're still usable. The soles aren't worn out, and so when you look at it that way, $400, $300 isn't too bad to spend on boots, because they should last forever. But if you really need to save money, then I haven't looked in a while. Justin, maybe you know, but eBay has some boots that are like 150 bucks that are cheap, but they're the same quality that I bought in 2018. So there you go. I've had them for 7 years. But the main thing about boots is modern boots, they're over there, else I'd just show you. They are made with the back part that goes around the back of your foot, and then they have another piece that goes over the front of your foot and toe, and then the stovepipe is made out of 2 pieces. Now the ones that you want to buy, because they're more historical, is when the front of the stovepipe is 1 piece going down to over the foot and to the toe. If you can imagine that. It's all 1 piece. They don't look as good, but they're historical. And that's what you can get on eBay, I think for around 150 bucks. And that's what you want to look for, up to 600. The boots I got are $600 boots, but the guy selling them put them up for $225, and I really am grateful for that, because that was a good deal. But yeah, boots can be expensive, the hat can be expensive, and the belts can be expensive. And the coat can be expensive. Personally, you can get away without a coat, though. Like, I barely ever wear my coat, even when I'm camping in the winter time. If you guys have watched my videos, if you remember, I barely ever wear it. Because when I'm active, I'm warm. And then when I'm sitting down, I got a blanket. And I got the fire, so I'm warm. But the purpose of a coat is because back then it was the etiquette. You appreciate that, James? The etiquette was to be fully dressed. However, out west, that kind of went away pretty quick. If you want, yeah, so if you got more questions about boots, let me know. Chris James says, the romanticizing of the Old West was ultimately a good thing. It kept that era alive. Living historians have an obligation, however, not to let that... Yeah, exactly. It's like somebody's got to be there to keep the facts known and exposed, but people should just do whatever they want. My history love in the U.S. is old New York gangs. Oh, that's awesome. My brother got into those. He knows a lot more about them. Which era are you talking for New York gangs? Do you mean like mob through the Prohibition and later, or do you mean before that when it was all the race gangs? My brother went through a time when he was studying all that. And then he went out and visited New York and stuff. Craig Curtis says, as far as clothes, when you have to go by pictures? It's a combination. Catalogs, pictures, the very few descriptions that we get, like the people writing about their time. So you kind of got to take all that into account. One guy early on when I was getting into it and trying to buy clothes, he told me that he's researched, sometimes there's orders, like you can get orders at a big company back east, a mercantile company, or a textile company back east. If they've still got their orders on record, you can look and see what was shipped out west. He told me that by far it was black wool. He said the most material that was sent out west that was ordered was black wool. I don't remember which era he meant. I don't remember, because at the time I didn't realize that you got to break it down into 5-year periods. I was still trying to do like what could I buy that would work for 60s to 80s, which sucks because there was actually good makers back then. I could have got a great outfit, but I didn't know what I was looking for, and then everybody went out of business. But anyway, so you got to take all that into account. And then, like I say, you basically make your best guess, is what it comes down to. Because pictures, in a lot of ways, the pictures can be misleading. Like personally, I'm not good at telling when it's wool trousers versus cotton trousers. So I might look at a picture and think, okay, yeah, here's all these guys dressed in wool. Well, maybe 2 or 3 of them have cotton trousers on. I don't know, because it's hard to tell. But to me, a safe bet and would improve the general appearance of reenacting is if everybody just wore wool trousers. It's a safe bet. But as far as study, I'm able to separate practical application from study. Like, to me, that's two different things. Like, the study, I want to learn all the details as much as I can. But when it comes to actually buying an outfit, well, I'm going to make my best guess. I'm going to do it within the budget that I've got. And as long as I got a good rational explanation for what I'm doing, and I'm not trying to pass off something like this, then I'm cool with it. So, I'm growing a bit of a beard and mustache as well. Nice. One way to reenact, because a lot of people don't want a mustache, a lot of wives don't like just a mustache. One way to do it is you grow the beard and mustache, and then when you got an event, you shave the beard, so you got just a mustache, and then after the event, shave your mustache and grow it all out again. That's one way to attack that. Brooksy for the gangs, old, worse than the West. Do you mean, what do you mean? Older than the West? A couple of typos there. My history love in the U.S. is old New York gangs. Old New York gangs. Oh, worse than the West. Please elaborate. I'm curious there. Sounds interesting. So cool to hear from those actual people. Rereading Empire of the Summer Moon now. Oh, yeah. I want to reread that. I've only read it once, and it changed my life, Empire of the Summer Moon. But I'm afraid to reread it because I get inspired and then I get obsessed. And that's what got me into mounted archery, was that book. And I was obsessed with that for like a year or two from that Empire of the Summer Moon. When I read Count of Monte Cristo, I was obsessed with France. I get obsessed with things. Modeler says, speaking of boots, I struggle to find the right sort of boots because I have big calves. Oh yeah, that would be a problem. You might have to go with ones that aren't as tall, maybe shorter. South Union Mills has a pair that I think they're shorter. I'd check it out. Photos are great, but we can't just go by photos. We must look to period catalogs, newspaper adverts, dress etiquette guides, first-hand accounts. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Chris Rivera, for elaborating there. Oh yeah, I love Marty Robbins, and I can sing on my guitar. I do El Paso and Strawberry Roan. Those are the two that I do regularly. I need to learn the Master's Call. I can do it when reading it, but I haven't memorized it yet. And then another one, Big Iron and Five Brothers. Those are ones that I do, but I still have to have the music in front of me. I haven't memorized them. But yeah, I absolutely love Marty Robbins. I like Gene Autry, and then I like Dave Stamey for more modern guys, and Ian Tyson. Hey Justin, if somebody brings a guitar, I can play those Old West songs, but I don't know if you want that kind of thing in the camp because it's not exactly historical. Dead Wolf Resistance, are you just trying to egg me on or what? But yeah, I think for modern dress, I'd love it if people dressed more like this. I dress like this and I stand out in town. But I don't dress like this for my videos. That's the only events I do is videos, except for this Arizona one coming up. I haven't listened to Doggone Cowboy. Not sure. I'm assuming that's a song title. Played Marty Robbins on Family Stereo System back in the late 70s. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I found him. I found El Paso from in the 80s. We were fans of Steve Martin, and on TV they showed this Steve Martin film that is rarely ever known about. It's called Comedy Is Not Pretty, like his album, but this was a movie of skits, like Saturday Night Live skits. It was all Steve Martin, and at the beginning he does a music video for El Paso, where he's in a bar with a bunch of monkeys, and he gets in a gunfight with a monkey, and Felina is a monkey, and it's hilarious, of course. And that's where I first heard about that song and fell in love with it. And then when I went to my grandma and grandpa's house in Missouri when I was 16, they had the record, and I would sit there by the record player and play it over and over and over. And my grandpa, I didn't realize it at the time that annoys people, but my grandpa was a good sport. He said, yeah, I can listen to a song over and over if somebody is listening to a song over and over that I like, it's okay. My grandpa talked like that, like not in straightforward, where you had to understand, oh, he means me, which I'm not good about that. It took me like a year to realize, why did he say that? Oh, he meant me. I was playing that song over and over, and it was probably getting on his nerves. My grandpa was awesome. He was a really cool guy. Also, I liked Streets of Laredo. El Paso and Streets of Laredo were my favorites at first. I could play Streets of Laredo on my harmonica. But it's such a sad song. I like sad songs, but I don't like perform it because most people don't like sad songs. Steve Martin, man, those were the days. Have you seen that, Dead Wolf Resistance? That movie, the sketch? Oh yeah, San Angelo. Man, I was thrilled when I found San Angelo. I was like, no way. More El Paso music. Because I thought there was just El Paso. And then it turns out he's got a lot more. San Angelo was like El Paso to me. Not as good, of course, but another good one. Loved that old stuff. That was when I was 16 when I went to Missouri. And when I was really getting into the Old West, like age 13 to 16 is when I was really getting into this stuff. And then it took me forever to actually live the way that I'm living. Still trying to alter the way I'm living so that, like, I'd like to have, like, I've got plastic storage bins currently, but as you can see down there, I got that one water container. I'd like to set up my life to where it's more of the old stuff and less plastic and all that. Lately, though, I've been on a kick of trying to get more metal containers. This is wood with a metal front, but more containers like that to organize my stuff in. A leather hat. All right, now you are just giving me a hard time. Yeah, if you want to look like a gay biker, then by all means, get a leather hat. Yeah, now I'm wanting to play my guitar and sing Marty Robbins songs. I don't know if you're joking or not there, Dead Wolf Resistance. So I don't mean to be rude or anything. Darn it, now I want some coffee. But we've been going for 75 minutes. This is fun. Any more questions, comments about Old West stuff? 'Tis the season for things to get cooler and start to do more cool stuff instead of just hiding out from the sun. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people live in Texas or Phoenix. I got a friend that lives in Phoenix. He complains about the heat when it gets into the teens, 100 and teens. I complain about the heat when it gets into the 80s. Man, just miserable. I think you are serious. Yeah. Well, yeah, alright, this has been fun. Things have slowed down, so maybe I should just call it quits. I'm on my Starlink. I gotta pull the trigger. I got 3 more days to decide if I'm gonna return it or keep it. I should probably just return it because if I want it again, I can just order it again. I'm in central Washington. I'm in the good side of Washington State. We're out in the desert out here. Only about a third of Washington is what people think of as like Seattle and Mount Rainier. That's only about a third of the state. Then the rest of it is mostly desert, but then we also got some pine forests and Doug fir. If you get up to a higher elevation, then you get Doug fir. So anyway, that's where I'm at. That's my long answer to that. I absolutely love Washington as far as the geography goes, but as far as the way they run in this state, it's getting worse and worse. That's why, who knows, I might move in the next year or two, or I might find that out at my other property, I can just be secluded and tolerate it. Who knows? We'll see. Life's an adventure. Alright guys, this has been a lot of fun discussing Old West stuff. We'll probably just be back on this channel. We've still got more viewers now than we get on the other channel. And like I said, since it was my goal to start doing weekly videos, and then something happened where I didn't do them. That's why I mixed up the channels the way I did. Probably just go back to the way it was. Yeah, the gun ownership issues are new. So those of us who love guns, in Washington, we've had guns for years. And so, of course, I store them somewhere else and just keep my self-defense gun on me. But yeah, that's new that they got rough on us here, and hopefully we'll get that crap repealed. I don't know. There's too many. It's really nuts how King County, that's where Seattle is King County. King County runs the whole state. And I get it that by population-wise, they have the most numbers. But I think we really need to rethink things, because when you got rural people having their lives dictated by city people, it's not right. I think that wasn't taken into account with our, our founding fathers when they were establishing our nation. Like, at the time, I don't think that they foresaw how vastly different city life would become from rural life. I mean, they had cities, obviously, and this has been an issue since Sumer. I won't get into that, but I mean, farmers, ranchers versus city leaders has always been an issue. But at the making of America, I don't think they really saw that. And in my opinion, we need to rethink how we're doing things. But will that ever happen? I doubt it. Just got to make the best of what we can, which is what I'm doing. My life's pretty dang good. I'm happy that I can live the way I do. All right, folks. I guess I better call it quits. Oh, I'm at 42% battery. St. Andrews TV. He's another Old West YouTuber. I have not. Chris, Justin, have you guys heard of him? What kind of Old West does he do? I mostly avoid most Old West people because most of the history is pretty bad. I know that one that Justin told me about. He does a really good job. Wild West Extravaganza. But the thing about studying history, what it all comes down to, is most people look for facts and answers, and they don't understand how elusive truth is when it comes to history. And you don't look as cool, you don't look as smart when you approach history, understanding that you're not going to find the answers. You're going to find your best guess. But that doesn't look authoritative, and to make YouTube videos, you got to look like you know everything. It drives me nuts. I don't know that guy is like that. I'm not, but that's just why I don't listen to most historians. Like I said, Wild West Extravaganza, I was pretty impressed with how he does things. He does a good job of covering, this is one argument, this is another argument, and I lean this way, but he doesn't say like, but those arguments are dumb and this is what it really is. Like, that's why I like him. But share your position, it's rare to find. Yeah. I'm easy going except for when it comes to studying history. I've been studying how to study history since I was 16 years old. And so it's something that I feel very strong about, and it's something that makes a lot of people dislike me. One guy says everything he says every time I talk to people, it turns into an argument. Why is that? Why is me trying to discuss history an argument from other people's perspectives? That right there shows you that they're not about learning, they're about knowing. Like, I ask questions, I tell them, well, how do you know that? Explain it. And they think that they can come up with a claim and not back it up. Like, get out of here. You're not studying history. You're full of yourself. And then, of course, the blame gets on me, because for most people, interaction is about following the rules and how can I look like I'm a good guy. If you haven't noticed, I don't care about all that crap. My values are, am I learning? Am I open to learning? Do I have a good rationale for what I believe? How can I improve that rationale by finding out where my theories, my beliefs have holes? Very few people are like me, but that's how you approach learning of anything, especially history. And I've been studying how to study history since I was 16. So when you get some jackass that just comes along and reads a book or two and tells you how it is, I just hold them to a higher standard, and a lot of people hate that. I just assume in the Old West history that most people don't like me. Which is different, because I know I come across as really likable on my YouTube. And it's not an act, it's just that when I'm camping, I have a different attitude. Or when I'm talking about how I live, I have a different attitude. When it comes to studying history, I'm pretty dang uptight about it. But again, I have a good attitude about reenacting the Old West. Like, if you want to go out and dress like this, have fun. Just love the Old West. But when it comes to studying history, that's when you find out what a prick I am, I guess, by other people's standards. Personally, I would love it if people would discuss why I believe things. Like Justin does. It gets on my nerves, but but it's helpful, because he actually comes in with a different view, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point. And so it forces me to think of other views. So, hey, thanks, Brightan. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Military fan says, I believe he did a video with Old West Extravaganza. From my limited knowledge, he's knowledgeable. Yeah, cool. Oh, I don't mind checking him out. But like I say, I don't even listen to Wild West Extravaganza, because I prefer to just read stuff. My favorite thing is reading first-hand accounts. I just read it for myself. But it'd be interesting to know if he's a good one out there. Wild West Extravaganza. Yeah, he's got good style, good stuff. We're not there. It requires study, absolutely. Yeah, thanks right now. Forget everyone else if it interests. It's you. Yep. Yeah, it took me too long to learn to live that way. Tried to get along with people. All right, we're getting some waves. Probably should cut this off. Battery's draining, and I don't know how much data I've used on Starlink. I think it would cut me off if I hit my 50 gigs. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. It's more exciting when more people are watching. I mean, it's kind of down now, but a lot more people than on the other one. So cool. All right. Have a great weekend. Study history. Get out. Hopefully this hot weather goes away. Oh, show us the scenery. Here, I'll show you, since we're on a different channel. Actually, I won't cut it off yet. I'll give some of you guys a tour of where I'm at. Unfortunately, I'm on vertical because when I scheduled the live stream, I forgot to hit horizontal. So I don't normally do this on TikTok style. So this is where I hang out, breakfast, cooking, hide out from the heat. Usually my chair is right here on these boards facing the creek. But for the video, I like to have the creek in the background. This place stays shady almost all day. So that's why I've got all my storage barrels in here so that they don't get too hot. Otherwise, it's like an oven. That's my cooler. I've got a freezer on the other end of my property where I freeze ice, and then I put ice in the cooler and keep my heavy whipping cream and some meat. There's my guitars that I never play. So anyway, this is my shade area. It's all nice and green. It's beautiful view, pleasant water. But then out here, I gotta keep my garbage bag off the ground or the dogs will eat it. And then out here is where it turns into desert. Hey, Maddie. And let's see, wood pile right here. This is where I cut my wood. Grab my fire starter wood that I've got pre-cut, and then I sleep in my van currently. And solar panels. I know it looks like a wreck out here, but anyway, this is where I am. And the creek goes up that way. So everything I do is mostly contained here within a couple acres. I'm in Washington State, eastern side, not the Seattle side. Hi, Austria Dead Wolf. Thank you. New sub, thanks. Apparently YouTube must be promoting this. I don't normally get new viewers on the live. Well, that I know of. Maybe I do and they just don't say anything. If people don't say anything, I have no idea who's watching. So I got Starlink there on top of my car, powered by my solar panels. So, and then over here is my pen. Pen the horses up at night. Give them some grain, give them some alfalfa. And then they get to go out and wander wherever they want. Dead Wolf, Trinity in the house. Austria Dead Wolf. Are you guys related? All right. This time, I'm going to cut the video out. So this has been fun, guys. Thanks everybody for interjecting. It's a lot more fun when everybody's talking in the comments. So follow me on Facebook if you want to keep up with my daily life. But be known that I post controversial thoughts there. I'll try to post more on Instagram also. That's where Instagram I don't get into anything controversial. I just post pictures of me and my animals and stuff. So, all right, everybody, have a great time. Remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.